Okay, so my name is Paul. I have my friend Peter here, friend Jonathan, and we've decided to start a podcast. And this is our first episode talking about religion today. I think all three of us have very different views, close views. I don't know, but it'll kind of work itself out during the show, you could say. So, if you guys want to introduce yourselves a little bit, that'd be great.
Yeah, go on, Peter.
Hey, yeah, my name's Pete. There's really not much to talk about me. I'm just a regular guy, gamer, single. It's really much to say. But yeah, I like philosophy, politics, talking about stuff like that. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, my name is Jonathan, and I am going to be a part of this crew over here. And I also like to talk about philosophy and religion is one of the things that actually uh, we can talk with Peter for hours and hours. He's just one of the few people that I know that actually uh, can really go deep into the subject. So I'm looking forward for this conversation.
Okay, so let's get started.
All right. So
And
what's the question?
I
What's
mean,
the theme?
it's pretty much what all of us think about religion, and if we have it in our lives, if we don't have it in our lives, and why yes, why not. So let
It's
me start real quick. I mean, I'm a Catholic for all of my life. I was brought up a Catholic. I'm not a devout Catholic. I'm not in church every day or every Sunday even. But I go, once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks, as I feel the need to. Um, And I believe in God. I don't have an issue where it's hard for me to believe or trust or anything like that. And that's just my point of view. And we can talk about it today.
All right.
I think I'm pretty close with my views. With Peter, I'm really close to Peter, but uh, I think with my experiences in life, I'm 37. Looking at how everything works, I not necessarily don't believe that there is nothing there. I and there's a name for that state. Uh,
Agnostic.
like, that's what I was thinking. I wasn't really sure. That there's something there. I feel it. Like I feel it right there, you know. But I'm just not really certain if this is God, you know. So I'm not really particularly believing in God, any God. But I also feel that there is actually something above us, something there that uh, influences our lives. And I have a couple of examples that happens to me that I want to share with you guys later on. Um, that kind of proves it, at least to me myself. It's not gonna prove it to anybody else, because you would have to live through it to, experience it in order to, make any statement on this. So you're just gonna have to believe me on that.
Yeah. Uh, Me myself, I would consider myself an atheist, but again, it's not it's not 100%.
Yeah, because
Kind of
atheist,
agnostic like Johnny. Yeah,
yeah, doesn't
atheist
believe
like
there's nothing there.
you,
Nothing.
you you could say true atheism is kind of arrogant. Like you conclude that there is nothing, but it's impossible to know that there is nothing. You believe that there is nothing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Like atheists, a lot of people put uh people that don't believe in God into atheist category, but there's something between, and I think me and Peter are right in this spot over there between, you know.
Mhm.
So you could consider Peter not so much I mean, closer to an agnostic than an atheist, no?
Yeah, it's just saying atheist kind of explains my position, because if I
You're
say I'm
closer.
agnostic,
You're
yeah,
closer to an
yeah, I'm
atheist.
just
Okay.
I'm closer to not believing in a God. I'm not gonna say that I'm 100% sure there is no God, because I cannot know that. Uh, and again, atheism
It's just believes
kind
in
of
reality,
concludes.
you know.
Yeah, but again, it can be arrogant, and I
What
don't
happened?
want. I don't know. He went off.
Jonathan
But
disappeared
yeah,
again. Technical
atheism kind
difficulties.
of.
I don't know. It turns off on me. I don't know why.
It's God.
It's I used to be like an atheist, right? When I was younger, when I was going through the whole progression of figuring out life, right? First, when I met a buddy that was an atheist, I I was going to the church, when that was when I was a teenager. I was going to the church and all that, and I never really was into it. I was just going because my mom told me, and I was like, I would pray, but it felt odd to me.
Yeah, I'm in the same position.
Yeah.
Exactly the same way.
And then I met this buddy, which just, like that was in Poland, where in Poland, 99% of people are either Catholic or Christian.
Christian Catholic. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just mind blowing to meet somebody who doesn't believe in God. Well, it wasn't like exactly mind blowing, but seeing other people's reaction to him. And then when I was, started to spending my time with him and talking, and him giving me all the reasons why there might not be a God, or that there might not be a God. It's I was just convinced. And then when you figure things out yourself, you're going through a process, and the first step of becoming an atheist, in a way, is kind of acquiring that arrogance that everybody else is wrong. That just because you have these reasons, like, what are the chances that your religion is right? There's been thousands of religions, and currently there's 10 big religions, right? What are the chances that the religion the people in your country believe in is the right religion?
True.
So that's kind of a reasoning why your religion might not be true. But again, it's not 100% real. I mean, not real. Just because you have the reasoning for it, it doesn't mean that it's real, right? You can't know that this is real.
But here's the thing. Religion as a concept itself could be something that is actually real.
Oh, the religion,
You know?
yes, performed by people
That
is
makes it.
real. It's that
It makes
whether
it
the
real.
source of this religion is real, right? God, right? Is God real? Of course, religion is real. I'm not saying it's not.
Because
It's mostly debating about what is the source of the religion.
yeah, I'm saying it in a way that, let's say, we all believe in God, and there's certain rules that influence our reality, our life, day by day life, which is actually shaping our reality all around us. Because let's say if we had a religion where we would, like, I don't know, do something else daily, our world, I don't know, like, let's say, burn tires. Like, there's a religion, they have to burn one tire a day. We would live in a, in a polluted environment and a polluted world. So
Without tires too.
yeah, and we wouldn't have much tires. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say, that religion on itself it could be real because everybody's living,
Performing it,
performing and living with the rules,
believing it.
believing in it. That's what could make it real. But I have a interesting theory. I was actually thinking about this for the last couple of weeks. Just random thought when I'm driving pops in my head. Is that what if we sense something, just like I do sense that there's something more than just physical reality?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people do so, and they just called it a god. They just named it God, and so people could easily reference to it, to what they feel,
Hmm.
like destiny, let's say, because I think there are kind of major things in my life that led me to where I am, and I think it's just something made me to do those particular things for me to be here. I just really feel like it, and some things happen in my life for me to be here. I feel it. And or um or let's say we have certain abilities, like as human beings, that makes us being connected and all. For example, I'll give you an example from maybe and those things makes us call it, some kind of a religion, or let's say I'm trying to kind of put everything in the words that I could, like,
Hmm.
everybody could understand it. Let me just give you an example. In the morning, Annabelle, like, my daughter, um, was getting ready to school, and I was sleeping in, and Nastya was actually taking her to school. But and I had a weird dream. I had a dream where um, I went to the store and I had to return something, and the lady over the counter was helping me out because there was a problem that they couldn't, like, put the money through the credit card, so there was a whole mess. And some other lady came in and she solved the problem, and I was so happy that this actually went through. It was a pretty vivid dream, and I was excited because it was a lot of money. It was like 800 something dollars, I remember. 849, something like this. Weird. Uh, but I was so happy that I took out my wallet and I had those Hershey chocolates in there, like different kinds in my
Hmm.
wallet. I don't know why. It's a dream. Okay. So, uh, and I was like, oh, thank you. So I said something like, thank you so much. Uh, just pick one chocolate. My favorite is the Hershey milk chocolate, the silver one. And this is where Annabelle, my daughter, woke me up, and she had an egg, like a plastic egg from Easter. Like, kids
Hmm. Yeah.
just look for,
Yeah, the
the
plastic
Easter
Easter egg.
stuff, yeah. And it was a gift for me, but she forgot to give it to me. And she was like, "Oh, Daddy, I forgot to give it to you. It was a gift for you." And I was just half asleep because she just woke me up, and I said to her, "Hey, just put it over here in my nightstand. I'll take a look at it later." Just like, I was like, "But Daddy, I want you to see it." "Oh, okay." So I woke up and she opened it, and that was the Hershey chocolate I was just talking about in my dream.
Could be
And
coincidence.
I was just stunned on how, but
That it
so
would be such a
yeah,
coincidence.
there's no way. I'm gonna give you another one.
There is a way. There's a
There's
chance.
like, so what are the chances? Okay. But those things are happening to me more and more as I go. Just recently, I almost hit one lady on a McDonald's parking lot. And listen to this. I'm coming in uh, to McDonald's because sometimes with me and Annabelle, we go out in the evenings, so we do Uber or DoorDash deliveries. And I'm walking inside and I see a lady, an older lady. It's like, our parents' age. And and I think to myself, oh wow, she is so similar to my mom. She looks like almost like my mom. And I'm just not thinking much more than that. I picked up the order, came came back to the car, and I start backing up. And something moved in the mirror or whatever. And I hit the brakes, and that lady was right behind my car. and she just literally like stopped my car because I almost hit her. I got scared and all that. I opened the window. She came in and she said something. She said something like, "You could have hit me. No, no, you almost hit me. I could have been your mom." That's what she said. So what are the chances? It was like a span. Like when I gave that thought, it was like, oh, she looks almost like my mom.
Mhm.
To that moment when she said it, it maybe was 5 minutes span. But what are the chances that she said actually this?
Look, they're
Actually that.
low. They're low, but what if it
It's
was your
possible.
mom? It's one of the things.
Yeah,
It's one of the things that people would
obviously
say.
it's possible, but like, who says that when you almost get killed by somebody?
Somebody that
You know?
looks like your mom.
Yeah, but she doesn't know me. She doesn't know that she
No,
looks
no,
like my
no.
mom.
I
You know what
I
I'm saying?
understand, but I mean,
So
like Peter
those,
mentioned, that's one of the, depending on who it is, if it's an older woman or
Yeah.
something like that, that she might actually, there is a decent chance that she might actually say something like
yeah, but and those things, like, you probably guys can confirm it, because whenever I ask somebody, they always do that. Within the family, there's a weird connection that you'll think about your wife, let's say, or I don't know, your family member, and just let's say the phone is ringing like a second later. It happens to everybody,
that.
like
Yeah, it happens to
everybody.
me too.
Yeah,
Of course, I
like
agree.
ask
course.
anybody, everybody's gonna be like, oh yeah, I've noticed that. So those things make me feel that there's something more on a higher level. Either I'm thinking,
If
and
what I
either I'm thinking we have an ability as a human being that is not developed,
yeah,
like
some kind of
not
telepathy.
discovered.
Some
Yeah,
kind of
not
connection. Yeah,
discovered,
there must be.
developed, or there is something more than our reality. You know?
I mean,
I
the
think
part that you mentioned. Go ahead, Peter. You wanted to say something
no,
first.
I think it could be some kind of subconscious telepathy that we're not aware of, right? It's
Yeah.
just like
So
the
those things, anomalies from our reality kind of realm that we are living, could make people feel like there's something more, but they didn't know how to, how to
I
put it in
explain it,
words.
so they
And
said it's God.
yeah, and they just, and they just named it a god, and that's why there is a religion
I
like
mean,
this.
listen, people's nature is always to try to name things so it's easier to understand what they're talking about. That's just people's nature. If you want to explain something to someone, you have to name it something so they kind of know what you're talking about. And the name just follows through, and everybody uses the same name, and it's easier to talk about it. I mean, if we were talking today and we're talking about religion and we're talking about God, if we didn't know how to say what we're talking about, what the hell are we talking about? You know what I'm saying?
One thing you have to consider is that religion can be an easy tool to control people.
True.
So religions could have been created by more smarter people
Educated.
in the society, not necessarily like leaders, right? If they wanted to control somebody, and I'm talking about like ancient times, medieval times, all that, right? Like specifically confession, right? In medieval times, confession was introduced so that the landlords know what's going on in the village, right? If you put the fear of God into the peasants and tell them to confess all their sins, and then if you just tell the priest to tell you what they said,
There's a
right?
famous example with,
It becomes basically a mafia, right? But yeah, that's one of like the purposes of that could be the purposes of the religion. I'm not saying it is, but that's one of the reasons how religions could have been started, especially in the ancient times. people weren't all that smart. You know, you
There's a
had one
famous
guy that figured out how to, put fear
calculate
into people. Yeah,
the sun and all that. There's a famous example with the
with the
solar eclipse.
Mayans. Yeah, the
I
Mayans.
think it was the Egyptians or whatever.
I'm pretty sure that was the Mayans that predicted that, and the priest would, stage a celebration or whatever, and said, or to like stage an event, and when people were like non-believing and all that, he would like stage this event where he knew there would be an eclipse, right? And he would it would make it seem like he did that eclipse. That was basically it.
I've seen those things. I'll tell you one thing though about confession, because you mentioned confession and it just reminded me of something.
Mhm.
I mean, as I am, and my whole family, we're all Catholics. So, my mother kind of professes her faith in a certain way. I kind of profess my faith in a certain way. My wife, my grandmother, and all that. What I've seen is the older the person is in the family, they're usually more strict with the religion and church and all that stuff. So we were discussing confession recently, and my mom was saying that I don't go to confession, that I should go to confession. Normally, it was like when I was little, they were teaching me I should go to confession once a month.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I go to church, I can take the body of Christ. Otherwise, it's not the right thing to do and all that other stuff. So, and I was discussing that with my mom because I don't feel the need of going to confession and talking to a priest. For me, confession and a priest, you're confessing your sins to a priest,
yeah,
that supposedly has the right from God to cleanse you of those sins, right? So to me, it kind of looks like this. I look at it like this. Why would I talk to a middleman if I can talk directly to the boss?
Right.
Also, like,
you know what I'm saying? Why would they talk
Yeah.
to the middleman? So
But
I talk.
yeah.
I in my prayer, let's say, I talk to God, and if I know that I feel I did something bad or whatever,
Right.
I apologize to him and I ask for forgiveness and all that stuff. And I don't feel I need to go through a middleman in it. Better to talk
This
to
is
the
where
boss than the middleman.
this is where the
That's the way I feel.
Catholic concept is
Yeah.
is really actually lacking, and the Catholic concept, in that matter, I think it was constructed purely for control, just like Peter said.
As a means of
You know,
control. Yeah, I
yeah,
think
because it's
it has
centralized.
something to
It's a
that. Yes.
centralized system, where they could take advantage of the religion and gain power through it, through Pope and all that. To me, religion, if you are religious Christian, I don't like truly. You don't. I said this is what I think. You don't have to go to church. Just pray, go along the guidelines of Christianity. And I think this is what Christianity is. If you are a believer.
See, like I mentioned in the beginning, I don't feel the need to go to church every single Sunday. I don't. But from time to time, I do feel the need to go to church. That's just me. I go once a month, 2 times a month, or whatever it might be. But that's just me. But I have a question for you guys. And quickly, if you can answer for me. Because both of you have similar views and you kind of believe in the higher power there somewhere, not necessarily in the way that I do, but as a matter of praying, do you guys pray or ask the higher power for anything ever? Or is it you never talk to that higher power kind of thing?
Well,
Yeah, I don't know about Peter because, as I explained, I'm like, if there's a line where the atheist is, whereas there's nothing, just reality, and Peter is like just a little bit out. I feel like I'm more farther and closer to you, like believing that there is something.
but do you pray then?
I don't pray.
I mean, not necessarily.
going back to the
or
I'm
try
not
to or
talking.
try
I'm
to
not
like
talking. I'm not
communicate
talking.
or think about,
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
talking about
but
church prayer. I'm talking
I
about
know.
like just sitting
like a
there,
meditation.
No,
yeah, and
like
asking for help or something like that.
more like talking to that thing. Yeah. Sometimes, yeah. And in a way of in my head, I'm like, why is it this way? Or wow, I can't believe that this happened to me, or and kind of communicating
But
to
isn't
that
that just you
higher being,
thinking to
kind of
yourself?
Yeah, that's kind of self-talk. I'm asking, like,
like
if you ever sit there, like, can you help me, please? Can you help me or make this easier on me? Anything like that?
You
yes,
know,
sometimes,
I would
yeah,
say something like that, but it's kind of like as a joke in the vein. You know,
Okay.
it's
yeah,
not serious. You know,
yeah.
it's like, God damn it, right?
Okay.
Definitely not daily, or like if there's a situation in a way, just like maybe a Peter, like uh, you know, questioning or why this happened, you know, why something led me to be here, you know, like thinking about maybe acknowledging that there's something in there. It's hard to say right now, like, you know,
But you don't like
I don't,
communicate to a specific thing, though. You
yeah,
just
I
think.
don't like it. Let's say your car broke down. I was like, come on, like, can you help me out or whatever? You're like, like in a way, this way maybe.
I feel like this might be a bit of like a residue from your Catholic upbringing. Like
It could have been, yeah.
I still like to say Jesus Christ and like call the God's name in vain and all that, but I never mean it, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
we definitely uh have we were raised by Catholic society.
yeah, Catholic
So
moms.
those values are imprinted
It's
into
it's it's
us
cultural, basically.
if
It's
we
what
like
we're
it
taught.
or not. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So there's still like lingering
yeah,
psychology there.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, sometimes I go no, sometimes I will ask that entity, I guess, like, can you make it this happen? Or like, I hope this is gonna happen. Like, just not really like having a full blown conversation, but stuff like this. Yeah, I would say yes.
Well, me, no, because I don't know what's out there. There is no point in communicating with what is out there. I don't even know, like, if let's say the universe is actually created by God, and let's say it's the Christian God, I'm fine. Like, if I die and your religion is right, I should be fine because I'm a moral person. And if God tells me that you're not going to go to heaven because you didn't believe in me,
Yeah,
well, you know what? You're one petty guy,
yeah,
all right? Because I'm a good person. I know it. Just because I didn't believe in you, I feel like if there was a God, we could have a talk, figure things out. But since I'm not certain that there is one, I don't feel like there's a necessity for me to do that. It's
like I'm
just
100% with you, Pierre.
I,
Like
I, I
100%
don't
the same
I
same
just
thinking.
don't feel like myself, or just it would feel fake for me to pray to a God.
Okay.
You know?
I just wanted to know your views on that. I
No,
I
no.
do pray. I
Mhm.
do pray. I mean, I pray myself. I don't pray reciting prayers from a book
Yeah.
or anything like that. I do it
And
in
I,
my own words.
and honestly, that is the most reasonable thing a religious person could do.
And the thing is
Not
mentioned.
not just blindly follow the Bible,
No, no,
or
no.
even
Of
if
course.
that's in the Bible, right? Because you do have your own interpretation. Like, you cannot be beholden to what somebody else tells you, if it's a priest or even a pope, right? You just because they believe it and they command it, that doesn't mean that you have to, right?
See, now my view also, what you mentioned before, is that if a lot of people that believe in the Christian faith, Catholic or whatever, that they would tell you if you don't believe, you can't go to heaven, or if you don't go to church, you can't
That's their
go to heaven.
belief, and you don't have to
But
share
listen,
that belief.
what I'm trying to say is, I believe, I go to church on occasion, I pray, I'm a Catholic, and I will always say that and stuff like that. But I also agree that if you're a good person, why wouldn't you go to heaven?
Yeah.
That's my view on it.
Especially that this is a funny thought I've had for a while, is that despite I'm an atheist, I'm still a child of God, right?
Well, yeah,
Because
Yeah,
you
to me,
consider me a child
like
of
to
God,
me, one of
that's
the
true. Yeah,
right? I
to
don't
me,
consider myself one, but I am in other people's eyes, right?
right,
And
true.
other religions' eyes.
True.
So, and I am in the same way. What's the word? Just as you can interpret the Bible, I can do it so, right? I can do it too, despite me not believing in the Bible or where the Bible, pertains, right? Still,
yeah,
you could say that I'm a child of God.
yeah, Peter, you brought this concept of religion being a system to control people,
Mhm.
and that fact that you just mentioned uh, about believe in me or else the blackmail,
Yeah.
to me is a proof that not necessarily that religion is is true. Like
Well,
it's
look, it's
denying
not
the
in,
the, the existing the true the the existence of it,
yeah. Well, it's not
because it's a
impossible.
blackmail. Like either you believe in me or you go to you know um down to the ground
You
to
go to
sleep,
hell.
to
You
hell.
go to hell. Yeah, but
Yeah.
look, is it impossible that God could be not necessarily good, more like neutral or even evil? What if whoever created this universe, maybe it's not a Christian God, maybe it's something similar, or it can be something entirely different. Could be evil, right? So if that's the case, and I die, and I didn't believe in an evil God, then I'm condemned to hell, right?
If you look at it
It's an
that way, that might be.
interesting concept.
Right.
But
So
going back to your question, and I would want to push that question a little farther than
mhm.
me talking to that entity, God, whatever you want to call it. I think it's actually communicating to me in a certain way. For example, I'll give you an example that happened not too long ago. Me and Nasta were watching a YouTube video. A guy's trying to help out with a natural disaster somewhere in California because there was a lot of snow, and they just they had like a heavy equipment, like heavy equipment company, and they loaded up everything, and they drove over there and start, digging out people's houses because they were stuck in the house for like 2 weeks. They couldn't get out, and some people were just elder and needed medical attention and all that stuff. So, and we were watching it, and I'm like, oh man, this is great. Like, that they were able to help them. But one of the things that actually suck is that a lot of people they just nice. They're like, oh, thank you so much, and they don't really truly appreciate. Uh, and even uh, and there's so many people that they just don't care, for like for other people. Like I feel like living on this planet for 37 years, I feel like there's way more people that would want to take advantage over you instead of helping you. Like one of the ladies said that there were people coming in and telling them, hey, listen, I can shovel your, driveway and dig you out for $1,500, let's say, right? And it's so sad that most of the people walking around among us, they're just waiting for that opportunity just to strip you off from money, you know?
With the same mouse.
And
If
and
you
there
ask
there are
them.
some people that they will genuinely help you without no interest if they can. Those guys, they had that heavy equipment, they had some money that they could, just not work for a week or so and just go there and do that thing, and don't throw their families under the bus because they didn't pay for their, electricity bill, whatever. So there are people that are willing to do so, and we were talking about it, and I kind of stated like, but most of the people are just, very bad and all that. And then right after the conversation, where I concluded with that most of the people are not that nice, I went to 7-Eleven right up. I'm coming in and I got myself a drink, went to the cashier, and all of it, out of nowhere, a guy pops out. He's like, "I'll get it for you." I'm like, "No, no, no, you're okay. You don't have to, No, no, no. I want to buy it for you, And he had a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, "I'll get it for you. It's on me." Like, and I don't dress like dirty or whatever,
Like you
just
need
to,
help, yeah.
like I need help and all that, Uh, at least I think I look decent when I go to out there, So, and he had no reasoning, honestly. Like, I've never seen this guy ever in my life, and he bought me that drink, And I thanked him and I wished him a very good day and all that stuff. And it happened right after I had a conversation with Nazi
About
about it.
people being bad.
Yeah. So I interpreted this as a sign from that entity or God, possibly, telling me that's not true,
Kind of seems like the law of attraction. What you think about kind of gets drawn to you.
But this thing literally happened 15 minutes after having that conversation, and I had those negative feelings in me, like upsetting feelings. I watched that video and it was like, that's awesome and all that stuff. But having that conversation and knowing, even from my experience, that most of the people I've met in my life, I think they are not genuinely good people. Like, they would rather take advantage of you instead of just helping you, whatever. And I had that negative feeling in me, like, that's awesome. This video is awesome. Those guys are awesome. It's nice that they did that, but the reality is different. And most of the people just want to take advantage of you. And right
And
after 15 minutes after that I considered this a message back, to the conversation and to the thoughts that I had.
I'm going to give you an example of my own that I want to give you. And this hasn't happened, like you said, Johnny, that you talk about something and then it kind of happens out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then you think about something or dream about something and it happens out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So my example is not about the same thing, but it's kind of close, I guess. Coming back to prayer and kind of emotion and all that other stuff. So I've had situations. I don't pray for things, first of all, in every situation, for every little thing. It just doesn't make sense to me. If I feel I'm really in need of some help or encouragement or whatever, then I would pray in my own words, in my head, or whatever by myself, and ask for help, maybe, or something like that. But what has happened to me on many occasions, and I'm telling you, 20, 30, 40, maybe more, I have no idea how many even, is when I was really in need of help, and I really, like, you could say with a feeling and passion and emotion, asked for help. Every single time I feel I got that help. Every freaking time I needed it. It's weird, and I can't understand it, but every single time I got that help in a way that I asked for, or in a way close to what I asked for. Maybe not exactly the same same thing I asked for, but it always came up like that. And what I do every single time that happens, first thing that I say is something like, "Thank you, big guy. I know it's you. I just talked to myself and to God because I believe in Him in that way. That's just me, and I have that faith. And I don't know what could happen to kind of take that away from me and make me stop believing. I don't know. I have no idea.
If you guys want if you guys still want to stay on the subject of prayer, I would want to talk about the prayer and the power of prayer, if
Oh, I
you
mean, we keep switching
don't mind,
subjects, but
you
it's
know?
fine. Go ahead.
Because I had you watch the video like an hour ago, whatever, for that purpose, because I wanted to mention this.
Did you send it to
And I
Peter
think
too, or no?
no, I didn't. But we'll talk about it. He's gonna know what's going on. I think prayer absolutely does have influence over the reality, and specifically, how do you say, uh, like a lot of people praying for one thing. Like if they focus solely on one thing and focus their minds on one thing, it actually can influence the reality. And one of the experiments that they did, what was it called again? Global consciousness experiment that they did. It was called, and it actually the way how it worked over there. And I think, when I usually I like to find explanations to everything, and I listen about everything. I listen about like some very spiritual stuff, which I don't really believe, but I just watch it and I'm trying to gain knowledge, and so it gives me some concepts that could actually lead me to
You
some
get a better
answers.
understanding of
Yeah,
something.
to understand some things that I cannot understand. Let's say praying, right? And when I heard about this experiment, a thought popped to my head. I'm like, maybe that's how prayer works. Maybe that's how we experience praise. So the experiment, the way how it worked, they had machines that would throw out random numbers, and they placed those machines in the universities all around, all around our planet, in different countries, different continents. And they were looking at the results, how close the numbers were to each other, on throughout the time. Like, North America throughout 5, South America throughout 1, China, Asia, somewhere in Asia, they threw out 10. And it was just throwing random numbers all the time. And what they saw at September 11, in 2001, when we had the collapse of those buildings, everybody focus went onto that event that happened. And you guys can agree that, and especially this case is going to be very interesting, because for American people, that event was very personal. So the feelings that they had were pure solely for their own country and fellow Americans. At this moment, me and Peter, we were 15 years old, and we were both back in Poland. And there is a phenomena that everybody remembers that moment when it happened and what they were doing. Do you, Peter, remember what you were doing when you got to know about this event?
Well, actually, I was watching it on the news, I think.
Yeah, but you remember that day, and
You're talking
in
about
everybody's
9/11,
lives,
right?
if something happens drastically, it's just imprinted that day. That situation is imprinted in our body. That's how we function, and everybody knows where they are at that moment. And why I mentioned it, why we were in Poland, because we don't really have, especially 15-year-old, we don't really feel like much connection to that event. There's so many different events that happened around the world that are similarly or even worse, comparing to 9/11, right? But somehow, at least to me, when that happened, I was 15 years old. I had that feeling inside of me, that particular feeling that I'm assuming a lot of people had at the same time. And I think we somehow, as entities, somebody, not only animals, connected through that event. Simply by thinking about the same thing, at the same time. And what that experiment did, actually, those machines threw out very close numbers to each other in unusual pattern at that moment when this happened. And even 4 hours before it happened, which is very interesting, that those numbers were randomly popping up, but they were closer to each other. So I thought, when I saw that, I thought came out to my mind, and thinking maybe the prayer works like this. Let's say if a lot of people get into that state of mind of prayer and think about, let's say, one person, that could actually influence reality. Because if reality influences us, it has to work the other way as well.
You know what's interesting?
So-
What you just mentioned. Just 2 seconds, Peter. Something short. Like, what I see is if that's true, that prayer can influence our lives so much, then that would kind of explain a little bit. I mean, at least to me, that's the correlation that I get. That's why a lot of governments, especially big governments right now, not in every country, but like here, especially, I think the government is attacking the Christianity and Catholics and all that other stuff a lot, and trying to confuse them, trying to give them more options, trying to break up that huge group of people that pray and believe in one thing. Because if prayer would influence our reality that much, the more people believe in the same thing, and the more people would pray about good and all that other stuff. You never know. They might be afraid it might actually go against them.
Yeah, possibly. It's a possibility, if that's true. I mean, there are indications that this could be true. So if that is in their way, whatever they're trying to achieve, they probably would want to,
like you mentioned
take it out of the way,
a couple of days ago. Usually what the government tells you is not good for you, it's good for you. And the government tells you it's really good for you, stay away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It happens a lot. Go ahead, Peter. I'm sorry I interrupted.
Yeah, that's all good. Yeah. Honestly, I'm not really convinced by like this whole prayer thing, but
because it's extremely hard to measure it,
Yeah,
but
I know.
this is some kind of
but
indication that
there's this thing.
there's something going on in there,
But if it's prayer, why is it that it has to be God that makes it happen? What it could be possible that if we have some kind of conscious like some subconscious power, like telepathy or whatever, or maybe we subconsciously can actually change reality, right? And if this happens en masse, then the probability of changing reality is higher, right? Maybe it's simply us.
That's
right?
why I mentioned earlier that we have those indications that there's some things going on, like that prayer, let's say, but we call it pray.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be pray, we just call it pray.
Yeah, it might be like we're projecting brain waves.
Yeah, telepathic, telepathic matter shifting, let's say,
Yeah.
And we feel that there is something to it. It's just most of the people call it pray.
You know what I'm thinking here? I'm thinking one thing now. Look at this. The situation that you mentioned, that prayer might have something to do with it, fine. But that was on a regular day during the week. Why doesn't that happen on a Sunday when the most people in the world pray at the same time? And you know why I think that happens? Because a lot of times people go to church or at home and they pray on a Sunday with no emotion. They just go through whatever regular stuff they got to do.
Well,
and
again,
it's like work.
If global consciousness would be a thing, and now you're comparing it to why isn't everything happening on Sundays, is because on Sundays everybody's praying for themselves.
I don't know, but I'm not.
Where
You didn't let
a
me
global-
finish.
that's a good point.
What I'm
Sorry,
trying.
yeah.
What? Yeah, that's true. But what I'm trying to say is that on Sunday, everybody just kind of seems to go through the motions, and there is not a lot of emotion in that whole prayer.
Genuinity.
But when that happened on 9/11, a lot of emotion in people.
Yeah.
A lot of emotion and feeling in that prayer.
Okay, but what actually happened with the prayers on 9/11? What are you guys trying to say?
Those were not prayers.
Okay.
This was an experiment
Thoughts.
of all those,
Okay.
although those machines were throwing out different random numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And when everybody started think about this event that happened at the same time, including all those emotions, those machines were throwing random numbers that were closer to each other.
Like they were influenced by everybody thinking about the same thing everywhere.
So the conclusion is that,
insane.
those machines were throwing out those numbers, and most likely they were influenced by those emotions, and everybody consciousness focused on that event. It's not
I
praise.
I would have to look into this myself.
But see,
sounds weird.
this
Again,
was
it sounds
true.
like another coincidence.
I'm personally just connecting it to pray, because it seems to me if everybody has emotions towards that event and thinking about that event actively and associating emotionally with that event,
There might be
and
some
it's
kind of
influencing
resonance.
it's influencing those machines. Maybe the praise and my statement was like, what if the prayer works like this? That's why we have pray, That's I like to do a lot of what ifs. Like
Yeah,
I'm driving around and like, what if this,
but then
what if that?
explain to me what my personal
Right.
thing is with prayer, because I just play by myself,
right,
for my life or whatever,
but
and
see,
it has enough influence where I see it kind of
okay,
but
Maybe it's a coincidence.
See,
maybe
a lot of coincidence, bro.
One thing I want to say, maybe the most religious people are the most lucky ones that prayed for the things and received the things. But but atheists are the people that maybe prayed and never got anything.
Because you don't believe.
No, maybe
you don't get anything.
Maybe the ratio from atheism to to religion is how lucky you are and how lucky you are with your prayers.
Okay, I mean, listen, because I'm praying at that moment, I don't consider myself lucky because I'm in a problem and I'm asking for help. And I'm telling you, I'm not saying it just to say it. I've had so many experiences like that I probably wouldn't be able to even count them all.
See that, but this experiment that I just mentioned.
Have you not prayed? Have you ever not prayed in times of need and things figured out?
Yes, but not always. Not as much that I would say with prayer. I feel, you see, faith. God and religion is mainly based on faith and belief.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
I can't give you proof of
it's
God.
not only God and faith. Honestly, our entire beings. I'm going to say this as an atheist and might shock a few people. Everything that we do is based on faith and belief, not necessarily a religious one, but and what I mean by that is our 99% of our knowledge is actually belief in other people. Like this, I like giving this example of, do you know how the stars function, right? That that the little blinking lights in the sky, they're stars, right? Do you know that? Do you believe in that?
Well, you believe it. I haven't been up there. I didn't check it on my own.
Exactly, right? Saying. So how many people do take their knowledge for granted as a fact, right? Which,
but see,
honestly, most of everything that we know is just belief in other people's knowledge.
Well, right? That's true.
I mean, I would argue it's 100%. We are in believing status, believing, like
Yeah.
100%, everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Even what you see is just an electrical impulse going through your eyes to your brain. But what
Yeah,
if,
of course.
Yeah,
what
I
if
mean,
it's
but
not the
that's
truth? I
something.
believe
But
this is
yeah,
true.
exactly. That's something you believe, right?
Yeah, but
Something that
there's-
you learned.
I touch it,
Peter,
but
but-
like, I touch this table and it's, wooden table, but
Mhm.
I believe it is wooden.
Yeah, and there are lines of reason that you follow, and when you collect all this knowledge, everything seems to gel together very well, and then you start thinking, I guess this is the truth, right? But it's still not. It's
I think
still
it
your
goes
belief.
I think it goes by people's experiences. What kind of experience you have in your life, they kind of
Well,
push you in a certain direction.
If you had all the time in the world to follow all the scientific experiments of the world and do them on yourself, by yourself, then you would know, right? But still, there are things that are impossible to know, right? Like the nature of the universe, or if there is a God. People think that they will know that eventually. They will never know that. It's impossible, right? What I might mean by that is, if you met God, say you, Paul, right?
Mhm.
If you met God, is there nothing stopping from you thinking, is that the real God?
Yeah, but I know what you're saying, but in my view and my belief, I can never meet God until the final judgment day.
And
That's when
once the
I'm gone
final
and dead
judgment
and all that stuff.
comes, and
Yeah.
once the final judgment comes and you meet God, how do you know that's the God? What if it's not another layer of illusion?
Well, it all depends on how you look at it. That's the way I look at it.
So
That's my
again,
point of
it's
view.
but what I'm trying to get at is that it's something that you have to again believe in. It's something that you would not
Of
be able
course.
to know, right?
Of course. And that's why
We
I'm
are
telling you, I have
we
no
people,
proof of
or
God.
any conscious being is really never able of knowing things for sure,
True.
right? So all that we
Even
can
to,
do is simply use our reason, to glue this reality together, right? And believe in that. That's why it's, especially with younger people who are still figuring things out, the arrogance it's so sad, right? And that's something that I went through, and other people are going through. It's gonna, that's always gonna be present, right, for all the generations. That people have, we're born stupid. We have to learn things, except that, we're learning beliefs, right? And you never get to know anything.
Yeah, we
you
born
die
stupid
stupid.
and we die
That's
stupid.
why there's that's why there's always so much chaos, in the world. And it's never gonna end. But it's fine because people tend to be good, because being good is a reasonable thing, right? That's where I believe my morality comes from, right? Is I have a set of morals, and if I were to apply these morals, if other people were to apply these morals too, everybody would be fine. Meaning everybody would be happy and safe, right? So like your regular religious morals, right? Don't steal, don't kill, don't harm people, right? But these are reasonable morals. Like, I really dislike the fact that people say these things but don't understand that it's a reasonable thing to do. They think it's because a God told me to do, So if you didn't believe in it, if there was no God, you wouldn't know what to do, how to be a moral person, which is scary.
Yeah.
I mean, we as a species, we are tend more to be more spiritual. We tend to come up with some beliefs.
Yeah.
Very good example. Because Christianity is not only religion. There's tons of them. First of all, and there's a very good example. It's called, I don't know if you guys heard about it, the cargo cult. Did you ever heard
No.
anything about this?
So
What is
So
that?
during World War II, Americans were occupying some of the islands on the Pacific Ocean because simply it's just a perfect hub for supplying the army and whatever. So they were flying. They built an airstrip, and they were flying in supplies over there. So they had to make a base and all that stuff. And there was indigenous people over there were living, and they were friendly and all that. So American soldiers, they would give them candy, so something different and all that stuff. And when the war ended, they wrapped everything up, and went back, left the island and all that. But those people, they were so grateful for all those things that they got, those candy, and that they actually made a ritual of, like, they would make straw hats in shape of a plane, and they would make rituals to make those people, with those flying birds, metal birds, come back and give them more supplies and candy or whatever.
Mhm.
So it became a religion for them.
Yeah.
And once a year they would, like, I don't know if it was once a year, but some time they would just gather and they would just make those dances and whatever in order to attract them back and all.
Yeah.
And through another generation, they wouldn't even see those people. They would just apply it because their father and everybody was doing it.
Yeah.
And they were just, it turned into a belief. Like, there's a flying metal bird, somewhere. They would probably occasionally see something going over, like, you see, this is the god that is going to come back and bring us all those candy back again. So we as a species are really more prone to believe something more than what it is. And in my opinion, is because we feel it as of those things that I mentioned that happened to me through prayers that happened to you and helped you. And we subconsciously feel that there's something more to it, And where I was going with this thought about the cargo, I don't really remember now. Yeah,
Well,
but
honestly, it's not really us as a species. I think it's in the nature of every sentient being to simply follow their belief. If I'm guessing if there were aliens, they would be going through the same thing we're going through.
yeah, and I think, well, we have to believe in something in order to live too. Like, we have to believe in something. If you don't believe in anything, you're just gonna lose sense of life, and there's no way you
what do
can
you
live.
mean believe in something?
You
Like,
have to.
I don't believe in God. I don't believe. I mean, I see the universe. I have no idea how it was made, if there was a beginning, if
Right.
there's going to be an end. So, what does that mean? I don't believe in anything. I mean, I believe in people. I believe in the knowledge that I know. Right? Or is it that is something else necessary?
Okay, but do you believe in evil?
Of course,
Do you believe in good?
yes, but it's not a belief. It's a
You have to
reality.
believe it.
No,
You
it's a
have to believe in
reality.
it.
But yeah, but it's a reality. It's something I can see. Not like physically with my eyes, but it's something I can understand. If anything, that's the one thing that I can know, that there is good and evil.
Yeah, but okay, but evil can be evil. Like, one thing to you is evil,
Well,
but not necessarily to the other person is evil.
that's the thing. There
So you
really
believe that this is evil, and you believe that this is good.
no. It's
Well, let's say you go to Sentinel Island, next to India over there, and those people are very aggressive indigenous people, and they will kill you on the spot, and they think they're doing good. So
yeah.
this is good, this is evil, or this is good.
Well,
You believe that this is evil, and
no,
they believe this is good.
wait, where are you going with this? Because I do believe in good and evil, but they're never separate. And what I
Peter,
mean is,
but where
it's
did
never either evil or good.
But where did your views of good and evil come from?
Me.
Yeah, but you had to get it from somewhere.
No, it came from me. From observing other people, right? Like, I am a being, you're a being, we're all beings. We create a society. How good that society works, or in a different way. I'd like to be happy. Okay. And I'm happy when I'm not hurt. I'm happy when I'm not dying. But then, these are like basics. I'm happy when I got something good to do. I'm a gamer. I like playing games. So let's say I'm happy when I'm gaming. In order for me to game, a lot of things have to happen. A society has to be functioning properly. Like, there needs to be farmers, there needs to be an economy, so that people actually build the computers and the games that I'm working that I like to play. Right. In order for all this to happen, I need to consider not hurting or killing people. Right. And go the other way, help people around if I can, or at the very least be a productive member of society. Right. That's a moral and good thing. So, as you could say that what is good and what is evil is really centered around you. How happy can you be? And there are psychopaths, sociopaths that will do evil things despite despite this common morality.
Well, listen,
But
there
but they are taking risks.
there are literally religions
Yeah.
that made people happy by sacrificing lives of other people.
I wouldn't say they made them happy. I think it was, look, fear mongering is a different thing.
I'm not fear mongering.
No, you're not. They were.
You can't
No,
tell me
I'm
they
not,
were
I'm
not
not.
religions that human sacrifice was a good thing to
They
do.
were sacrificing, but that doesn't mean that that made them happy. It's they were simply, it's kind of like living in gulags, I would say, right? Or no, that's a bad comparison. It's like living under a dictatorship. That's the best thing, right? You have a guy who leads the community, and he has a belief, right? And he starts sacrificing people, or there's a like a small sect of people that believe this. They have the control of the country. Everybody believes them because that's the belief. But that doesn't mean that people are happy. It's like they're sacrificing people because they think that will make their lives better, not necessarily. It's like a necessary
there
evil.
were cultures that would sacrifice people
but
and
they would do it.
celebrate.
Yeah, but they would do it as a necessary evil. Sure, celebrate, but again, that doesn't mean that they would do it for happiness. Well, maybe.
There were
But yeah,
parties
they would do it.
afterwards and celebrations, and yes, we did it.
They would do it just like make it rain, I guess.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean. Okay, so you're
But here's
saying
the thing.
happiness is beside good and evil?
Okay, so changing a little bit. See how life is complex. Like how complex is our planet and all those systems that even if you change something just a slightly, it might just disrupt the whole system and all the life on Earth will just die. Even the size of our moon and the distance from our planet is in perfect relation that allows life to be.
You could consider this a happenstance.
Yeah, but like, do you think this is coincidence?
Yes. Look, it's not that it's necessarily a coincidence. It's that this, out of all the planets, there's probably more like that. Okay, how long is the universe supposed to be? 4 billion years?
I don't know.
That's what it's supposedly they're calculating.
But that's also
That's
unbelief
alone.
to what you've been told by somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. But it's not hard for me to believe that if the universe generally is hostile, right? You have all these energies and materials just forming planets and all that, right? That it's not hard for me to believe that it's rare for life to occur in a universe that's so hostile. And that it's not that we're special. We don't know that we're special. There's probably, if universe is like unending, then there's like unending number of civilizations. And it's just that we are so small, it's hard for us to communicate with or reach out to other civilizations on other planets. You know? But if the universe is as big as they tell us there is, that it is, I feel like it's kind of silly to think that we're the people created by God on this one lonely planet. That's it.
Yeah, but I don't think that.
Okay.
See, this
I
is
think
where
that,
me and Peter,
view, I think that everything is, that's like, of course, because of my belief and religion and all that stuff, but I think everything was created by God. And
Awesome.
I believe in other worlds like Earth as well.
Okay.
Those were created by the same God, by my view. And to tell you the truth, 10 other religions, everybody has a so-called different God, but it could also be that it's all the same God.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. So
just
so
to tell you guys, we have five
look,
and a half minutes. So let's end this in 5.5 minutes because it will never end.
So look, yeah, there could be a God, sure. It's just that what's the point of following a religion, knowing that there were so many different religions, and knowing that if there's so many religions that believe in the same God, right? What's the point of following doctrines?
What's the point? Because it perfectly fits.
I mean, it builds a community, sure, but then you got multiple communities. It's
all the preachers, right? This is how you call it, preachers. Are constructed in a way of instructions for people to adapt into their life, and a lot of those things explaining the stuff that are happening to naturally in your life that sometimes some people just simply would struggle understanding why stuff happens.
Sure, but
even let's say confession, because you have to, like, somebody who wrote all those preaches had to know psychology of people, how they work and what's good for them. Yeah. Because confession releases, your emotions. Let's say something happened and you confess to somebody, instantly,
makes you feel better.
You feel better. So there's tons of different examples, like, that, let's say, if you're an adult and you went through a little bit through your life, that you see relations to Christianity, and it's just set of instructions how to go by in your life and why things happen. And some people just, I think most of the people don't sit down and deeply go through a problem in their head, like why this happened to me, and let's say maybe
they really should.
Yeah, they should. But most of the people, I think, they just go through life and they don't think twice about something.
That's the thing that, look,
those are set of instructions that help you go.
I know.
And help you understand why things happen.
I do like that religion teaches people morals, okay? What I don't like is that it doesn't teach why the source of these morals. And I believe that the source of morality is reason. I'm good because I'm a reasonable person, it's like, it's not reasonable for me to do evil things, because then people hurt, and then it in turn affects me somewhere down the line. If I hurt people, I will be, either punished, or if people hurt people, then like, it's not good when people are hurt. And religion kind of doesn't teach the reasoning behind it. It teaches that, because God says it. And
because some people just cannot wrap around their head why
but
things are happening.
yeah, but
And they just need a simple explanation to things that are real.
Well,
and more complex.
What?
For example, let's say if you're bad with money, right? You're bad with money, and you
go to accountant.
Yeah, you're being poor all the time, and the world is constructed in a way that if you are bad at something, you get the consequences from it. And preachers are just set of instructions how to not just like stop being poor and whatever, but this is just an example. But it's just a set of instructions on real life problems of people and how to fix them. And life it's weirdly, that's why I think there's so much more to life than just matter. Because if you're poor and you're bad with money, life will get you to a point where you're just gonna have to learn it. You're gonna have to you're gonna have to actively think about it, because it's just gonna influence your life so badly that you're just gonna have to take an action. And simply Bible is a set of instructions that help you to go through life without trying to figure out every single thing. That's how I see it.
Guys, listen, we got 30 seconds.
All right.
So I think we're gonna have to end it. We can make it a part 1 and then continue another day. Because this is like a subject that we could talk forever.
It's something we can pick up some other time.
Bye.
Okay. So,
all right.
Good conversation, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Take care.
You're on.